Who is going to win the tournament to face John Cena? Was CM Punk winning the World Championship the wrong choice? And has Tiffany Stratton lost all of her momentum coming out of Saturday night's main event? I'm Ben Allison here at Wrestling Republic, and on today's episode of Wrestling Republic's podcast, we are going to be talking about absolutely all of that and a lot more. Joining me, we have two of the biggest wrestling fans who I know. Firstly, somebody who genuinely probably does more podcasts than anybody else in this business, and that is Clark Taylor. How are you, Clark?
I'm doing well. Good to be back as usual. I always appreciate that. I try my best, at least, to do as many as I can. You know,
It's like 2 a day most days.
Honest to goodness, obviously this will be out on Monday, but Saturday, as much as I had the day off, I missed being on the show myself anyway. I was like watching and stuff. I can't help it, right, man? I love it. But yeah, it's stoked to be here as always. And what a week for pro wrestling.
And talking about hard workers, we also have one of the hardest workers I know. In fact, probably the hardest worker I know. How are you today, Shad Tawks Graps?
What's going on, Ben? What's going on, Clark? It is good to be back on a Wrestling Republic show. Let it be the Wrestling Republic podcast, especially. It's been a busy week for me. Salute to my bro, Rennick, who just tied the knot this past weekend.
Hey.
I told him I was going to give him a shout out. He got me this AEW hoodie as a groomsman gift, so I'm going to be wearing this as a true sicko, as much as I can. So, yeah.
I'm going to have to wear my old WWE pajamas my brother got me now next week. Just start the rivalry going. I'll have to do it. But without further ado, guys, we need to get into this opening topic, right? Because it is the biggest news story, not just of the week, but probably the month. And that is, who should John Cena face in his final match? Because it is now confirmed John Cena's final opponent will be decided in a 16-man tournament with competitors from Raw, SmackDown, NXT, and potentially outside of WWE, presumably meaning TNA or Triple R. I highly, highly doubt Chris Jericho or Edge is going to be showing up in time for this retirement match. But we're going to do things a little bit different this week because our biggest news story of the week is this. But also, my take of the week is also relating to it. So if you'll forgive me for a second, we're going to go straight into my take of the week. Because Obafemi has to be John Cena's final opponent now. They've announced this tournament. They said, John Cena specifically said that the reason he is doing this tournament is to help elevate somebody. So therefore, it cannot be Gunther. It cannot be Sheamus. It has to be a younger star. And I'm going to be honest, right now, the young star who I do think would benefit from it the most is Obafemi. He is ready to be called up to the main roster, and this would be a star-defining, a star-making moment for him. It is a no-brainer. And I know I did just say it has to be him, but realistically, what I mean by that, it has to be somebody like him. It has to be somebody in their late 20s to maybe early 30s, somebody who is just getting called up, and somebody who needs this right now. Because Gunther certainly doesn't need it. Randy Orton doesn't need it. Sheamus doesn't need it. Who needs it is a younger star to put themselves over in a way that John Cena got put over by Kurt Angle. So that is why I do think at this point it has to be a younger star. But I'm really fascinated as to what you guys think. Clark, we'll start with you.
I have such a hard time with this one because some of the names that I most want are on the shelf. Jacob Fatu would be electric in this spot. I would thoroughly enjoy that. I do really, really appreciate your pick with Obafemi, and that would be probably my 1B. But I think Trick Williams could use this more. I'm going to go with Trick Williams. Trick Williams winning this tournament and that being his route to the main roster, and then that feather in his cap of beating John Cena in his final match. I would be all for. It's a great way to introduce him to the main roster. I think people want to chant "whoop that trick" when they hear the music. Yep. So stick with it. Bring him up as a babyface. He's done a great job as a heel in this latest run on NXT here and working with TNA talent and whatnot. I think for Trick Williams, it's more valuable because here's the thing, and it's razor thin between Trick and Oba for me, Ben. I'm like, we're splitting hairs here. I just think Oba is so physically imposing and so dominating that a long match with Cena for his final match is going to be more difficult to pull off. Whereas I think Trick can be that opposite foe and put on one sort of final paint the picture type match. Not that Oba isn't capable of that, but the selling and bumping I think is going to be more possible from Trick in this one. And Oba's run to the main roster, I think, is the opposite. You flip him into being a heel. I think with both guys coming up from NXT, Trick is going to be a better main roster babyface out of the gates.
Yeah.
Oba will be a better main roster heel, despite the fact that
But this person's going to be a heel because Cena's going to be the biggest babyface in the world in that match.
Of course he will be. I actually think they're going to go babyface versus babyface here. A handshake type thing. If you look at, even like the ruthless aggression when he's there with Kurt Angle, like it's kind of corny and he slaps him. Like it's not the most babyface-ish behavior there. I think they're sort of going to blur the lines with this one. If it is a Trick Williams, I don't know that it necessarily needs to be one last hurdle to overcome. I think we'll get that with the Survivor Series opponent being Dominic. I think that will be that will be the last big heel babyface like matchup that we're seeing. Got to sort of
Shad, I can see you shaking your head
cheating, overcome the cheating.
I'm shaking my head because he said somebody that I was gonna bring up.
Sorry about that. I apologize.
No, you good. You good. You know what? I'll just say it here. It should be Dominic Mysterio. Dominic Mysterio should win this tournament, and the Intercontinental title should be on the line at Saturday night's main event. And that should be the last hurdle for Cena, because you put in the potential, we want to see him get that accolade, become the Intercontinental champion. And that's something that a lot of people will push for. But also, will he win it with it being his last match? Is he going to retire with the belt, or is he going to put somebody over? I'm sorry, man. This guy has won me over more than any other professional wrestler has won me over. Dominic Mysterio has the tools to be the top guy in the WWE, given like the opportunity, bro. Like, he is just a bona fide superstar. There's things that he does that is so true to pro wrestling. He's obviously, a student of the game, being a third generation superstar in the Mysterio family, but he does stuff to detail so well. His character work is so good. That's somebody that could catapult from being that. I say he's like a upper mid card guy right now, right?
Yeah, definitely with the IC title, yeah.
Beating John Cena for the Intercontinental Championship, right? Defense, that last match, that feather in the cap, that catapults him to a main eventer. That establishes a top guy in the company.
I don't disagree with what you're saying, but what I will say is, if the story is John Cena is firstly, if he wins the tournament, I don't think there's any reason why he should put that title on the line. He doesn't need to. The second issue I have with it is, if the story going into that is Cena needs to win the only title he's never won, and then doesn't do it in his final match, I feel like the crowd will almost go away from that a little bit gutted. And I know Dom's a heel, but even still.
I also Dom's hometown is San Diego. And if Survivor Series is not in San Diego, I think it's an entirely different story. I'm with Shad. I would love that. But how do you not have 619 in the 619 at that ballpark that, is like the heart of that city, the heart and soul of that city, Petco Park is. So realistically, it's right in the middle of downtown. It's one of the coolest baseball stadiums in the country.
So to Clark's point, right? So let's say hypothetically he beats Dom for the IC title at Survivor Series, right? He has to defend that IC title after this tournament. We can add that as a caveat.
Exactly,
You know who he should go against?
Who?
Sheamus.
Well, that's why I said in the intro he shouldn't go against him, because no way is Sheamus a young John Cena in this situation. Sheamus is retiring like in a year.
The moment matters, though. The big time moment matters.
It does. I agree. It does, but that's not the story they've told. If the story was, by the way, that they didn't do this tournament, I agree. In fact, that would be my exact choice because it's a brilliant story to tell. But the fact is, they've now done this tournament. The entire promo Cena did last night was about the fact that he wanted to give somebody an opportunity like the opportunity he got. So therefore, because of the story they've now told, to me, it's ruled out Gunther, it's ruled out Sheamus, because otherwise, again, like this entire retirement run, it's brought like a complete mess based on things which don't match up with what they're saying. If they didn't do the tournament, I'd agree completely.
I'll give one more name to myself, by the way. Now that you said that, Ben, because I hear where you're coming from, especially the way the promo was delivered, right? The best match of Cena's retirement tour so far, by miles, is AJ Styles. Everyone knows that, and I didn't mean to rhyme that. That just worked out perfectly. But at the same time, what they did best was play the hits. And I think that's a lot of what people are going to want to see for the final match. I'm hoping we get sort of some of the storytelling type stuff out of the way. We just sort of throw everything out the window, almost a la Cody finished the story, where everything is in play. Right? Anything can happen in that final match. Play the full A side and the B side of whatever Cena's got left.
All the moves for sure.
Yeah, play everything. And someone who could handle that, I think, on the opposite side, that's very young and it'd be a bit of a risk, but Javon Evans,
that's what I was thinking.
Javon Evans could handle the play the hits match in a way that AJ sort of did. And others have.
Is it too early?
I don't know. That's the thing. I don't know if those guys are
risky, but maybe
the risk Williams could handle it. The risk is the tough part with both. Like honestly, with a lot of the NXT guys in general. Not saying that they're not deserving or they're not. It doesn't make it a captivating moment. It makes sense story wise, but it's also the fear of you're putting a lot on their plate. This is going to be a big match. Like you're the last opponent for the arguably biggest WWE superstar of all time, right? Like Cena is going to go down as the GOAT in the WWE universe after December. And you as an opponent, you can't mess anything up. You have to be as perfect as anybody can be. And that is going to be that's nerve-wracking me just saying it, and I'm not even wrestling in a match. That's a tough task.
That's why I think it needs to be Ober or Trick, because they are now ready for the main roster. But there is one more name I want to check out there, because I don't want to see this happen. It's not my pick. Ober's my pick, but I'm just throwing the name out there because they've been in big positions. They're young, and in a very similar way to how John Cena was when he faced Kurt Angle, they need a major change. What if, just hear me out here, what if it's Austin Theory?
What did beating John Cena do for him before?
Nothing, because he buried him on the mic. And his character sucked. If he came back and beat him, who knows? I wouldn't do it. But I think there's a world where it would work.
No. In my eyes, I will give one name myself, though. That's a wild card name that I just thought of for no reason. And he does not fit the elevating a young guy, but it just, the elevation could work. What about Big Jim Uso? What about Jimmy Uso?
No.
And if we were going to try to build
elevating a 42-year-old,
if we're going to try to build towards Jimmy and Jay being a big deal and Jimmy could handle the match, I don't hate the idea.
Could he?
Yes,
I
think he'd be great in
match.
I think Jimmy would be great in that match.
He's all the big matches he's been in.
I think he nailed. No, that's not true.
Singles matches.
WrestleMania 36 singles triple threat ladder match, the only ever triple threat singles match for the tag team titles. He carried that match and was the MVP of that match, and then won it.
But that's a ladder match.
Stop it! That was a great match. That was
He's
one of the
not
best
as good as
matches of
Jay in
WrestleMania
ring,
36.
and Jay's not amazing in ring.
In an empty arena, that was one of the best matches of 36.
I think Jimmy
was outstanding in that match.
Jimmy is a better worker than Jay.
And if
I
we're
don't
gonna,
think so. People love to say this, but people forget that like a lot of the bloodline matches, like the match with Roman and stuff, Jimmy also had that during the pandemic,
you
albeit it was on a SmackDown.
What-
But nobody remembers that.
Before
it's
we
Jay
got
and the
to-
storytelling that he can do. He can
Dude.
convey emotions way better in a match than
Ben,
Jimmy can.
You're cutting
Way
things
better.
off. You're cutting things off at like when the injury happened and everything. If you think back before that, there's a reason that Jimmy was always the hot tag. Jimmy was on the
Yeah,
apron
but being a
for the
tag team
hot tag.
competitor and being a solo
No,
star.
No,
are
but
two
Jimmy
there's a
different things.
reason
definitely
for
was-
that. It doesn't mean that you
Jimmy
can't
was
connect
definitely coveted
dots.
as a bigger star.
He
Yeah, he
was.
was.
Jay-
He was.
He
But that
was
was
the
in a tag team.
He's. If you ask who's funnier or more charismatic, everyone says Jimmy. And so if you can find that groove, why would you not? It's a wild card pick, like I said, and I know it doesn't fit your age thing, Ben, but I did want to throw it out there because I like the idea of it.
Well, talking about throwing things out there, Clark,
Yeah.
I want to hear what your take of the week.
It is the wrong time to put the world heavyweight title on CM Punk. We did it way too early because Seth Rollins is still breathing. He said, as long as I'm still breathing, you will never be the world champion. I get he's injured. He's not there. His friends went away from him. His wife is still there. Have Becky Lynch at least try to stop this. Seth is still breathing. Seth Rollins would do something to try to stop it, even if Punk were to win. Seth needed to be involved here somehow. Braun Breaker needed to be involved here somehow. There's no reason LA Knight wasn't involved in this match. We basically got handpicked the top two guys on Raw based on their video game rating, like I've said before, and we got no story advancement out of it. We put the title on CM Punk. We got a real cute social media picture with him and Ricky Saints and Jade Cargill and Cody Rhodes. And that's all we got out of this. And where do we go now? I don't know. Paul Heyman's still in the Vision. Maybe that means we're going to look at Punk Breaker. How do we drag that to the Rumble? I don't know. I'd rather have Breaker be in the Rumble. I would have rather had Punk in the Rumble. I guess in hindsight, Breaker, if he wins the title, wouldn't be in the Rumble. But now I'd rather have him in the Rumble than wrestle Punk between the men's and women's Rumbles, somewhere in the middle of the card, like we always do at the Royal. I'm baffled by this. It's too early. It doesn't feel like he had to overcome the obstacle that I think CM Punk needed to overcome, which is Seth Rollins, to solidify himself as a deserving world champion, because that's the story we've been told. Injuries are injuries are injuries. It happens all the time, but it continues to just be cursed when it comes to Punk and Rollins. We've never got the one-on-one. It's what we were sold in Chicago at Allstate Arena. The second that Punk came down the aisle and that music hit, Seth was furious. We've never gotten the full payoff, the blood feud that we really deserve. There's always something else muddied about it. And now CM Punk's the champion, and Seth can't do anything, and we all know he can't. And that's
a few things here. Firstly, we have had one-on-ones between the two.
Yes, we've never had the definitive payoff.
Right, okay, fair enough there. But the other point I will make is, from a kayfabe perspective, Seth Rollins is rather distracted right now. To your point, he's injured, but also Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed betrayed him. So I think he's more focused on them rather than CM Punk. I think CM Punk's in the back of his head. But screw that, he's a changed man. He wants revenge on Braun and Braun as soon as he can.
The most impactful line that Seth Rollins has delivered in this entire run the last 2 years is, as long as I'm breathing, you will never be world champion. And that was not addressed the night that CM Punk became world champion. That is frustrating. You did not pay that off.
I agree on that part.
Why would you leave? That's like having pocket aces and folding pre-flop. What are you doing? You're like, never mind.
It makes sense, though.
That feud went out into the garbage once they did the cute double date tag match that they had with AJ Lee.
So true.
Where's AJ Lee, by the way?
Where's she been?
Is she not show up to
coming
work?
back soon?
A sick 2-week run. It made that
She'll be
doesn't
back.
make any
She'll
sense.
be boy. Charlie, hold this on now. We're not turning this into an AJ Lee diss
Yeah, we
track.
are.
She'll be back
Yeah,
when she
we
wants
are.
to be back, and I think it'll be very soon.
No.
She deserves a little bit of time off, right?
So for 7 years.
Not gonna be back.
Why is she catching
what was
strays?
She doing
For 10 years.
It was like 10 years.
She just does multiple jobs. She's a writer too. She's actually on a book tour. To answer your actual question, she's genuinely on a book tour.
I thought she was a professional wrestler.
She
is.
Becky Lynch still wrestled on her book tour.
No, she didn't.
Yes, she did. Ask Shad.
No, she didn't. She came back after the book tour.
Nope.
No, she was. I met her before Mania.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was after the main book tour, though, wasn't it? That was when she did another.
That was the hard launch for the initial book tour.
Oh, never mind. Ignore me then.
Yeah.
Ignore me. I'm wrong on that one.
Active wrestling. Wrestlers wrestle.
The other thing is, too, I don't know why she's still on this book tour when the book came out like 5 years ago, AJ Lee. But anyway, it is a great book, so it's worth it.
Book.
Yeah, it's great.
I don't know, man. I hear what you're saying, Clark, and I think you have validity to part of it, but I can't be a hypocrite. You got to put the belt on someone that is a championship level person and that garners stuff. And Punk is without a doubt that. I don't think it's a saying of it's too early. My only thing is this, and this is more so a general conversation about the division itself. Like, who does he go against, right? And what is
just
Punk?
Braun? It's just Braun.
Yeah, so like there isn't a lot to like.
What about Braun's son?
The Raw side, the Raw like main event picture is so repetitive because all of these guys have gone against each other in variations, and we're gonna obviously get some bit of it coming in the Survivor Series next, right? You know they're gonna logjam some with that. I don't know if there's anything that has a lot of intrigue towards it. The Seth injury is probably the biggest detriment to WWE creative writing, like more than a lot of stuff has been in a while.
Yeah,
I was gonna say
since the last Seth injury.
The last Seth injury, right? He was the franchise like QB, and it's like he got hurt on opening night. Now you got to try to go through the season.
Dearly missed as well with Seth out too, because I'm total agreement. But Kevin Owens, right? Having both them missing is so tough because they're so plug and play almost anywhere in the men's division on the card. And you're losing just like two, like I call them like utility players, right?
Yeah.
They can basically play every position, you know? And missing
the
both
one
at
thing,
once is brutal.
The one thing I will say, though, about this situation is I said it a couple of weeks ago when this first happened, and you guys called me crazy. Clark's now agreed with me, apologized to me on the daily for it.
I went hand up.
But what should have happened to you? Braun Breaker being kicked out for not saying please was absolutely ridiculous in the first place. That is one of the worst bits of storytelling I've seen in a while. But more importantly, too, right? What should have happened here was Saturday night's main event was Braun Breaker versus Jey Uso. Somehow CM Punk didn't win the match to get into it because of Bronson Reed taking him out or something like that. At Saturday night's main event, they also do Bronson Reed, CM Punk, whatever. And then Braun Breaker wins the world title. They go to Survivor Series. They do the War Games match, Team Punk versus The Vision. Then at the Royal Rumble, have CM Punk win it back because obviously heading into WrestleMania season, you want it on a major player. But that would not hurt Braun Breaker long term to lose that title back to CM Punk after a few months. It wouldn't. And what it would do is make him feel like a major player for a few months. And it's not an important few months. And it's a few months where he'd be surrounded by tons of other key players. It was the no-brainer move. And I think it's a massive mistake they didn't do it.
Yeah, I'm with you. I would have not even minded if it was a triple threat situation or even a fatal four-way with LA Knight as well.
Yeah.
In this one, I think that's the route they should have gone, because the reality of him just carrying the belt around like he's now the world champion after in the WWE world, he put Seth on the shelf.
Yeah.
Right.
And he looked good with the belt.
Yeah. And to carry it around and then just be like, oh no, give it back now.
Please.
Suddenly it's like, yeah, I don't get it at all. It seems like a big miss.
I mean, but it goes back to like with Seth being hurt. Like I truthfully don't think there is a pinpoint direction of what the vision is going to do now at all. Like Seth is the why, and they had to rush the why super quickly because he was out. by doing the breakup. That breakup was supposed to happen probably closer to Mania season, right?
I think next year. I think
maybe like SummerSlam
time.
next year.
And that would have, and that's the money match is Braun versus Seth for that being Braun's crowning moment. So it like truthfully, like it is going to be talked about as one of the most devastating injuries for WWE in some time in regards to like how we've pinpointed and set up the booking. Like honestly, man, you can look at it at both sides. The world heavyweight title picture on both titles is very bleak. Like that, we've had so many rinse and repeat like storylines. Even with like with Cody and Cody and Drew. Like, what does Drew do now? Like, like literally, I have no idea what's
go to Raw and feud with CM Punk.
He's gonna wrestle Sheamus again.
Honestly, we're so out of options right now. But Shad, I do want to hear your take of the week.
WWE has ruined Tiffany Stratton's momentum last night at Saturday night's main event. Let's talk about it, guys, because if there is a misuse and mismanagement for a main event talent, Tiffany Stratton has to be the face of that, because not only did they give her a very minimal amount of talents to go against during her long, darn near historic title reign, but they set her up in bad situations with every single feud that she was in. They never gave her the opportunity to really go out there and feel like a dominant champion. They just threw her with the wolves and they told her to kind of go through it. And I get it. People should be professionals and be the best at what they are. But when you have someone as young as she is, when you have someone as great as she is, you have to be a good coach and coach the player and put them in proper positions. And that's where they went wrong. But the biggest factor is last night, the fashion that she lost against Jade Cargill. How do you recover for that as a main event talent? How do you tell yourself that I need to be back in the World Heavyweight Championship picture? You can't. The momentum got shot down. She'll be relegated into the mid-card picture. Maybe she'll win the U.S. title against Julia eventually. Maybe she'll go for the IC title on Raw. But being a world champ, it's going to take a lot more time for her to get back to that. And that just doesn't sit right with me. Because as young as she is, as talented as she is, this was supposed to help elevate her and put her as a mainstay. Now, I don't want anybody to get it twisted. I don't think having Jade win the championship was a faulty idea. I think it's well-deserved. I think that she has the potential to really do stuff to be a great champion if they treat her as that and book her as that. But in the process, just going ahead and washing Tiffany like she did last night, it really, really hampers what we've built in the stock that we had with Tiffany Stratton. This is somebody that could literally, in my mind, be a Charlotte Flair level talent in her career, and she can still get to it. But this is just such a big, big lateral move on her behalf, like how they just ended her title reign, man. And it's super unfortunate. So yeah, I think the momentum is completely shot, and I hate it. And I really, really worry about where we go next with her.
I have never shared a take in my life where I have agreed so much with one half of it and disagreed so much with the other half, because I agree. Her reign, they gave her flop after flop after flop. She was put in storylines which, as a character, she should not have been put in, and it was so repetitive. I agree with everything you said on that part. But Jade destroying her in that dominant fashion, it was the right move, and I'll say why it's the right move. First things first, Jade lost to her twice. So Jade needed to prove that this wasn't a fluke. And it was a dominant performance that made Jade, with this new kind of heelish character, feel like a big deal. But secondly, you said she lost momentum. They can't get it back. They can get Tiffy's momentum back so easily. It takes one move. And that one move is the exact one move we've been saying for months and months and months that they should do. And that's turn her heel. All they got to do is turn her heel and have her return to that character on Monday Night Raw right after the draft or whatever, and suddenly, bang, she's in the main event scene again. It's such an easy fix to do, and she's better as a heel, so in this case, it's logical to do it.
The issue is it's going to take time for her to get back to that. That's the main thing, right? Tiffany. So let's say it like this, right? Say someone like Becky Lynch, she loses the belt. We have no problem for her to come back in a few months and get back into the title picture. Charlotte, someone like Bayley, Bianca. These are the type of talents that are always going to hover around the main title because they should, because they are main event talents. Tiffany had that and they took it from her. Now, to me, Tiffany's going to be in the U.S. title picture. I know she's going to beat Julia for the U.S. title. That is the most evident thing. That the moment they had Julia feud with her a couple weeks ago, I was like, oh yeah, the writing's on the wall. Yeah. She's gonna be in this picture now, and that's what they see it as. They don't have enough faith in genuine mid-card talents to let them become mid-card talents, so they're gonna just put the title on Becky when Becky should probably, honestly, I don't care what no one says, Becky should lose to Maxine Dupree.
I actually wouldn't hate that at all.
She's a mid-card talent, so you let a mid-card person, like, it's no different than what we have right now. Obviously, I know I got some flack for it, but a person like Dragunov, right? He's a mid-card guy. He holds the mid-card title. That's fine. That's true to what it is. Dom is the same way. And then that helps gravitate them back to it. That's what they're gonna have to do back with Tiffany, is hopefully put the title on her, one of these mid-card titles, make her run the course on there, and hope she picks up steam to get back to the main event. I just don't know when it's going to be. I think she will get back to the main event. I'm not saying she's written off completely, but you knocked her down a peg so far down, it's going to take a little bit of time to climb and get back up there.
But the one thing I will quickly say, though, Shad, is what if she doesn't win the United States Championship? Because you are right, they're clearly teasing that. But what if the story here is that she's lost the title dominantly, she then feuds with Julia, and because of Kiana James and heelish stuff, she doesn't win it. And at that point, the fact that she keeps losing is what makes her turn back into that brat, that Barbie character, where she's a spoiled brat and a heel.
I mean, that can work, but I mean, it's still going to take some time. Like, she's not going to, as long as Jade is champion, she's not sniffing that title. Okay, maybe you're saying but Vaquer got the juice right now. I don't see them taking the belt off of her.
It'll be after Mania. It's a 5-month story, and then she goes over to Raw.
Yeah, that's fine. Time is of the essence. It can get to that. But you had created something so good. I just don't think the dominant loss was right. Tiffany's a dominant figure. She's a super strong competitor. Like, you're letting her get ragdolled. And I love Jade. It could have been a little bit more of a clash of the Titans type of bout, where then Jade finally gets her come up, and third time is a charm, and she's able to overtop that hill.
I mean, I honestly think you have an opportunity here with Tiffany Stratton to do something that's really interesting, because you have commodities right now in the women's division across the board, outside of even WWE, that are sort of like this, where she just mentally breaks from losing the way that she did. And just Julia maybe mocks her for it one time, and you just have the absolute, she becomes the worst. She becomes like the most intolerable bully. She just breaks. And then
I think that's eventually what they'll do.
And then maybe even what I would love actually is for her to somehow develop like a little group. Like a small faction for Tiffany Stratton, I think would be, for growth in general for her. Would it be awesome.
Too similar to Chelsea Green though at that point? Because that would be a similar character.
I'm starting to think like it's too similar to Chelsea Green. I'm also starting to think if she breaks hard enough, then what do you do with Blake Monroe? Because, by the way, that's likely going to be what her character looks like at some stage.
You're right.
Right? And I mean, you look at what Toni Storm has done with that style and whatnot. I don't think Tiffy ever goes that far, right? No. I don't think she does.
From the main roster.
We're starting to have sort of like toes that could be stepped on.
Not really
when it comes to those two.
I think Tiffany's like, I don't know. To me, Blake is conniving, like, and vindictive, like, where Tiffany is just obnoxious and,
You're right. That's right.
Tiffany's more Regina George.
Yeah.
Right. And then Blake's more calculated than that character wise. That's a good point. That's a good point.
To get off topic for a quick second, the cash cow for Blake is to let her literally get back into that conniving bag that she did in that feud with Tony. Like, she needs to get to that type
Do
of
the same
realism.
thing.
Yeah, exactly. Like, that level of heel is what it is. I enjoy what they're doing with her right now. Obviously, a lot of the, comedy aspects of it. It has a lot of sitcomish stuff towards it. But but that's where she's amazing. I mean, she's one of the best. She's one of the best women's heels in that picture. But but hopefully it gets to that. But for Tiffany, we'll see, man. It's gonna be interesting for Jade. It's got to lead to her and Bianca. That has to be the payoff feud match, and that has to happen at Mania.
Yeah. No, I do think you are bang on right there. Now it is time for our faction of the week, where we give our match, standout, talker, tag team, show, promotion, and women's and men's wrestler of the week. I'll kick us off with match of the week, and it is actually from last night, but it is not from Saturday night's main event. Instead, it is from Collision, because Bandito and Mascara Dorada, what a match that was. It's not a surprise, but I absolutely loved it, Clark.
I am on the exact same page, man. Like, it's my pick as well. Like, look, it's definitely the match. Bandito is just on fire. He can't miss right now. He literally can't miss.
Yeah, you're exactly right on there. Shad, are you in agreement as well?
Yeah, that was the best wrestled match this entire week. Those guys went out there and had a match of the year contender for TV matches. This is gonna make people want to watch Collision. So salute to those guys. I got Bandito versus Mascara Dorada.
Fantastic shout. But Clark, when it comes to somebody who has stood out to you in the wrestling world this week, who would you say it is?
I'm going with Ilya Dragunov. I love it. He's keeping up the open challenge thing. But when he went to hit the German suplex on Nathan Frazier and did the "it's not personal" line in the camera, it was one of my favorite like ad libs I've seen in wrestling this year. That was so ice cold. It was so cool. And so I'm giving it to Dragunov this week. It's just awesome.
Fantastic shout. What about you, Shad?
I'm going to the world of NXT, and I'm going with our Evolve champion, Miss Kendall Gray, putting on a showing, getting a win in the title defense against Lash Legend. I enjoy watching her wrestle, and I'm super excited to see how she keeps growing. So she's my standout.
Brilliant shout. I've gone for somebody who answered Dragunov's open challenge this week, and that is Nathan Frazier. I mean, look, we've known this guy has abilities as a single star, and I'm not entirely sure, unless they bring back the Cruiserweight division, that he'll reach that height in WWE, but he proved it in this match that he can go as a single star, and he's so good at it. But when it comes to Talker of the Week, Shad, who's your pick?
I'm going with Jey Uso, man. I really enjoyed the promo exchange between him and Punk on Monday Night Raw. Jay is slowly but surely reminding people that he can cut promos really well, and I'm super excited how he's going to act coming off this loss, because I think the something's going to click in that head of his, and he is going to get back to his heel self very shortly.
It's going to be an exciting time for sure, and I hope that fans, maybe they just boo him anyway, because he'll be a heel then, who knows? But I do think a character change is coming. Clark, who is your pick?
This one is, of course, Talker of the Week. John Cena finally gave us an explanation. And it doesn't feel like the greatest pick of my life, but I just wanted to know how we were going to get there without him appearing on Raw or SmackDown. We now know. Yeah, it's going to be a tournament, and I enjoyed it enough that I wanted to know, and now I know. So he's Talker of the Week.
And I'm agreeing with you as well, because I thought it was a really, look, I heard rumblings about this tournament, and I didn't like the idea of it. After I heard Cena explain it, I was sold on it. So I think he did a really good job in that promo selling the idea of the tournament, and ultimately that was the aim of it. So I did absolutely love it. But a team who I have been absolutely loving for quite a few months now is Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair. And again this week on Monday Night Raw, they had a really solid defense of the title, and Alexa Bliss also got a singles victory on Friday Night SmackDown too. So Bliss and Flair is my pick. But Shad, who is yours?
I'm going with FTR, man. There was a super fun tag match that was displayed on Dynamite this week. They came out victorious. It reminds you how fun and great the tag division is in AEW. and you can't spell fun without having the F and FTR in it. So go FTR.
You are right there, Clark.
No doubt. I've got Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss. I was at Raw on Monday. Honestly, I was unaware of just how over Alexa Bliss is since I saw her at the Rumble. Sincerely, it's not been that long since I was in the same building watching Alexa Bliss make an entrance, and I was stunned. And they put on a great show. So yeah, tag team of the week, no doubt about it.
Great pick. As for show of the week, I'm going to be honest. I think this one's quite straightforward because it's not been the best week of wrestling. And that's Saturday night's main event because it really was the only start to finish strong show, I'd say, of the week, to be honest. But what's your pick, Clark?
Yeah, I got to go with Saturday night's main event. It feels like a weak show of the week, but it's where we're at.
I enjoyed it. I honestly
I totally enjoyed it. I just compared to other weeks. You'd think it to me felt more like a second place show than a first place show.
Fair enough. Shad, what's your pick?
Yeah, I got Saturday night's main event as well. I thought it was a solid show. It's the closest thing to a PLE type of show we had this week. So yeah, I got them with it.
Great. What about promotion, Shad?
I got WWE, man. They gave us Saturday night's main event. AEW didn't do too much. There wasn't a lot done by other promotions really that stood out. So I got WWE.
I agree for that exact reason. It wasn't, it was a bit of a filler week for everybody. And Saturday night's main event was clearly the only important thing, really, by any promotion. New Japan had a Tanahashi show today, but to be honest, I haven't seen it yet. Clark, what's your pick?
I'm going with WWE as well. Like, obviously, I went to Raw on Monday, and with main event and stuff, they were the most newsworthy of the bunch this week. So you got to go with WWE, I think, here.
There we have it, a clean sweep when it comes to show and promotion. But will the women's wrestler of the week be a clean sweep? Clean sweep as well. Who knows? But my women's wrestler of the week is Jade Cargill. She is the new WWE Women's Champion, and I've been a big supporter of her for so long, and I am thrilled she has finally got the prize she so badly deserves. But Clark, what's your pick?
I'm going with that new champion, Jade Cargill.
I thought you were going for it then. I thought you were just going to say it. I was like, oh no. Shad?
A storm is coming. Jade Cargill, easily women's wrestler of the week.
There we have it, 3 in a row, but will it happen in the men's division? Because I've also gone for a new champion, a new World Heavyweight Champion in CM Punk. Shad, what's your pick?
I got with a retaining champion this week, and I'm going with Dominic Mysterio, man, winning his IC title in the triple threat match. And then, of course, just the beautiful spot where he rang the bell to mess up that's so good.
It was gold.
Dirty Dom, bro.
What about you, Clark?
Make it 2 of us. I'm going with Dirty Dom as well.
Wow.
Just outstanding week. I mean, he stole the show with comedy last night. I thought that was just mind-boggling, and I appreciate it every time.
You know what? I mean, I can't argue it because he was really, really entertaining and he is just getting better by the week. It is incredible. But thank you guys so much for tuning into this week's episode of the Wrestling Republic podcast. Make sure to check out Wrestling Republic's daily broadcast every single day at 8 p.m. UK, 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Pacific on this YouTube channel live as well, where we show your comments throughout. You just head to the live section on our channel. Also, please leave a like and subscribe on this video if you haven't already. Thank you to Shad. Thank you to Clark. And we will see you guys next week. Peace.